I have Shannon McGee here tonight. She's going to be doing an incredible presentation to get you to understand how amazing the Tahitian Islands are. And tonight I want to just tell you, I have a few of my team members here. I have Miss Valerie, we have Lisa, we have Paul, my husband, Erin, who, if anybody's gotten emails, you know that they're coming from this young lady, and then Colleen Hulsbeck here. And our music tonight was Liam Hulse, and did a great job, Liam. Thank you. Thank you. I like bringing out young talent. He's 16 years old, and he's so talented.
So
amazing. Yeah, he really is. So without further ado, I'm going to have Miss Shannon take over the floor. Here you go, girl.
Thank you. Thanks, Sally. You know, I've heard last call for alcohol before, but not pizza. So that's kind of fun, right? All right, so I'd like to say Maeva, which means welcome in Tahitian language. I like to give a little language lesson before we get into the presentation. There are 13 letters in the Tahitian alphabet. Most of them are vowels.
Oh my God.
And they say every vowel. So when you're saying a word like Moorea, you would say Moorea because that's how they say it. So now you're an expert. When you go, you can speak to the Tahitians in their own language. So I think we're going to start off with a little video here. And like Sally said, my name is Shannon McGee. I am the Director of Sales for Paul Gauguin Cruises for the Northeast and the Midwest. So. All right, let's go. Oh, you know what? We don't have a speaker on there. We're gonna skip the video because we don't have a speaker on there, so that doesn't work. But so, how many people have been to French Polynesia? Has anyone been to French Polynesia besides? Yeah. Yeah. So no one. Oh, this is great. So I have a new group here. What about Hawaii? How many people have been to Hawaii? This is what happens every time I do a consumer presentation, or sometimes even a travel agent training. I ask if people have been to French Polynesia, and almost no one raises their hand. And then I ask Hawaii, and almost everybody's hand goes up. So, you know, it's closer than people think. I talked about this a little earlier with one of the tables, but Hawaii is about 6 hours from Los Angeles. Tahiti is 8. So it's not as far as you think. I get crazy answers when I ask people where they think French Polynesia is, across the international date line, close to Australia, but we're as far west as Hawaii. We're as far south of the equator as Hawaii is north. But I will give you a little tip here. We get as many tourists in a year as Hawaii gets in 7 days. So that kind of frames it in your mind as to what the experience is like. There's wide open spaces and few people. It's very unspoiled. So, you know, it truly is like taking a step back in time when you go to French Polynesia. 8 hours, oh, I know, my little joke. I missed my little joke. But we like to say that it's a movie and a drink beyond Hawaii because it's just 2 hours. So you can have an extra drink and you can watch a little movie and you'll be fine. So let's take a look at the map. There are 118 islands that make up French Polynesia. If you call it the islands of Tahiti, if you call it Tahiti or French Polynesia, most people will know what you're talking about. So 118 islands, 5 archipelagos, so 5 separate island groups. It's spread out in the Pacific Ocean, of course, the South Pacific, but it's spread out in area the size of Europe. So if you can see this map here, you can see that we have Western Europe on the screen with all the islands spread through there. But the land mass is only that equal to the size of Rhode Island. So you have all these little islands spread across the Pacific Ocean. So we're going to talk about the different island groups here. So the Society Islands, which is our home. The international airport is in Papeete, and that's where we leave from. So the ship begins and ends most sailings in Papeete. The Society Islands are what you think of when you think of French Polynesia or Tahiti. Tahiti, Bora Bora, Moorea. So that's the Society Islands. So that's the main islands. The 70% of the population of French Polynesia, which the population is about 300,000 people, 70% of those people live in Papeete. So you would call it the city, but even when you're there, you don't feel like it's 70% of the population. It's very few people anyway, but so the Society Islands. Then you move on to the Tuamotu Islands, which is just to the north and east of the Society Islands. These are your low-lying atolls. Atolls are islands. They're coral with a sandbar on top. So they're kind of a little bit different than the Society Islands. And you'll find that all these islands are a little bit different from each other. And then you have the Marquesas Islands. Does anybody remember Survivor was in the Marquesas Islands? Yeah. So very rugged and wild, but we also travel to the Marquesas. So Paul Gauguin Cruises, does the Society Islands, the Tuamotu Islands, and the Marquesas Islands. We do not go to the other two island groups, which are the Austral and the Gambier Islands. So that gives you your little geography lesson there. So why would you do this experience to French Polynesia with Paul Gauguin Cruises? So we are a small ship, all-inclusive. So everything's included when you travel with us. The ship was literally built to be in this destination. We are a one ship, one destination cruise line. So we only have one. We're very specialized. So we really know how to do French Polynesia. So like I said, the ship was built to be there. I didn't really know what this meant before I worked here, but from the water line to the bottom, we have a shallow draft. So the water line to the bottom of the ship is just 19 feet. What you'll see when we look at the islands, it's perfect for us because we can get into all these inner lagoons close to the islands. Also, you can see from this aerial view of the ship, there's a lot of wide open space. So where do you want to be when you're in French Polynesia? Where do you want to be in the summer when you're here? Outside, right? You want to be outside. So we have a lot of space for guests to be outside. We are celebrating 25 years in the destination. So this is our 25th anniversary. We were renovated about 2 years ago. So the ship had an entire renovation about 2 years ago. We brought in all these beautiful blues and greens of the area into the decor. We removed the use of heavy fuel oils. We don't use single-use plastic. We upgraded Wi-Fi, so she looks great. I forget what Angela said to you today.
She's had
our baby looks great.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
One of our reservation staff. She's been there a while, so she said it, and it truly does. I was just on in December, and you'll see some of my photos from when I was on in December. So 25 years in the destination, and it's the only thing we do. So we are 330 guests. We're a small ship, 165 staterooms. We're all ocean view or balcony accommodation. So there's nothing interior on our ship. We have bathtubs in every stateroom. We have, and we'll talk about this more, but we have a crew to guest ratio from 1 to 1.5. So 1 staff to every 1.5 guest on board. And we'll talk about the lovely people who work with us. So another thing that really we're very immersive. So, you know, if you think about, and I'm sure many of you have been on river cruises, cruising down the rivers of Europe, and you get really close into those cities, and you're docked in the cities sometimes, and you have that really immersive experience. They bring the food and the culture. That's exactly what we do in French Polynesia. So it's all about the destination. The ship is amazing, the staff is wonderful, but you're there for the destination. And one of the ways we do that and bring the cultural element in is we have 7 Tahitian hosts on board every sailing with us. So we call them the Gauguins and the Gauguines, after our namesake. And they're young people from all over French Polynesia. And they're the smiling face that you see when you're getting out from the island back on the ship, and they're giving you a cold towel and they're handing you a drink. They're giving language lessons. The little language lesson I just gave you, they give language lessons. They tell stories of what life was like growing up in French Polynesia, because of course it's very different from where we come from, right? And why do we travel? Because we want to meet people, we want to get immersed in the culture. They do entertaining, so they all can play an instrument, like we just had this lovely young person play for us, but they all play an instrument, and so, they do entertaining and singing, and they bring you those stories from their families. So 7 Tahitian hosts on board every sailing with us. Our service is exceptional. I was talking to Paul before everybody got here, because he was on with Sally, of course, a few years ago. But the staff is truly amazing. And some of them have been with us from the very beginning. And so even though not everybody is from French Polynesia who works with us on board, and there are some local staff, of course, but they still embody that warm French Polynesian spirit. It's just an open, friendly spirit. It's 5-star plus service for sure, but it isn't formal or fussy. They remember your name the day after you meet them. They might remember your drink order. So if you're drinking espresso martini after dinner, it will show up for you. Another story that I have is, so I didn't even tell you why I work here. Sometimes I start off the presentation by telling you why I work for Paul Gauguin, but I've been in the travel industry since 1996. And I was a travel agent, and then I worked for a land-based vacation in Europe, Insight Vacations. And while I was working at Insight Vacations, I went on a vacation on the Gauguin. So I was pregnant with my son, just a few months, and I thought I have to do this kind of bucket list item because I don't know when I'll have another kid-free vacation, probably never, but that's okay with me now. I'm happy about that. But so we thought, we have to go. So we went on, and I've been all over the world, and it was my most favorite vacation ever. So I started telling you that story because I'm about to tell you another story. When we got on in December, one of the waiters, Ernesto, came over to my husband and said, and Ernesto didn't know that I worked for the company. He came over and said, I know you were on about 4 years ago. And my husband's tall, you'll see a picture of him, and he's bald, so he's kind of memorable, more memorable than I am, little tiny person here, but yeah, so it's incredible. This is the kind of people that we have. A travel agent that I work with said to me, Shannon, I swear that they took my photo and my drink order and placed it in the crew area because every time I went somewhere, they knew exactly my name and they knew what I wanted to drink. So that's the kind of service that you're going to get on board. We are able to stay longer in our ports. So we can stay longer because of the size of the ship. It does tender in most destinations, but because of the size of the ship, we're docking in the inner lagoons in most places. So we have a short tender time. There are some cruise ships that will pass by French Polynesia and make a stop, and they're larger cruise ships where they're docking much farther out. So you have a longer tender time. So we are able to stay longer. In fact, we stay overnight on Bora Bora and Moorea on almost every sailing. So you have 2 full days in those destinations. So we definitely linger a little longer. We already talked about the expansive deck space. Exclusive retreats. Now, I will tell you, this is probably one of the best 2 days that I've ever spent on any vacation. So most cruise lines have their own private island. Well, we have a private island. This is just for us. It's called Motumahana. It's off the coast of Taha, or Taha'a, if I was saying it in the way that we should speak French Polynesian language. But it is the best day. I mean, is it not the best day that you ever had in your life?
One of the best days of my life.
I know, it's pretty amazing. So it has a beach barbecue. It has
Than when you married Sally?
There's a beach barbecue. We bring on the locals and they're selling handicrafts. You can sit in the water and not move. I mean, the water won't take you anywhere. You could just sit there.
It was a floating bar.
I was just going to tell you. I was just going to tell you.
They float the...
So, this guy right here, you can hardly see him, but I have a better picture of him later. He's our bartender that floats around with the bar and serves drinks. So he's serving drinks as you're swimming by or kayaking by, and they have activities on the island, and you really have to pull me onto the tender. I go kicking and screaming when I leave here because I love it so much, but I wish I was there right now. And you walk in, you have all these coconuts lined up with the coconut water in, and of course they'll put some rum in there for you if you like. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. And then we also have a private beach in Bora Bora. So because we spend the 2 full days there, you can do an excursion one day and then go to the beach a day. You can go to the beach a half day. This is a little more rustic. You have your chairs that are on the sand. You have the non-motorized water sports, and you have a cooler with drinks. So it's just really relaxing. You don't have to think about a thing. You leave your cell phone
I did.
back on the ship. So what's included? So we are all inclusive. all food, including our alternate dining options, which we'll look at the dining options, including 24-hour room service, all drinks including alcohol, gratuities, Wi-Fi, there's fresh fruit and flowers in your stateroom every day, and we have a mini bar that's replenished daily as well. So if you're drinking all the Hinano beer out of your mini bar in your stateroom and the staff sees that and you're not touching your soda, they'll take the soda out and give you more Hinano. So it's all catered to you. So what is life like on board? I told you we have 3 restaurants. So Le Trois is our main dining restaurant. This is open seating for dinner. And I just thought of something I should tell you. We are country club casual. So even though we have 5-star service for sure, and you saw the gentleman with the white gloves and the tie, the staff will be dressed that way, but we don't expect our guests to wear a jacket or a tie. Long pants, country club casual for dinner for sure. So Le Trois, main dining restaurant. So it changes the menu every single day. Now, we get the lagoon fish. They get local fishermen, fish right out, right where you're sailing around, and they'll serve that on the menu in the evening. So pretty amazing. No reservations are required. I was on a very busy sailing over the holidays, and I did not wait 1 minute to have a seat for dinner. And they'll sit you with people if you want to, or you can do a table for 2. Again, the menu changes every day. There's daily standards, so if you don't like something on this side, you pick something from this side. And you can order this the menu to your stateroom. So if you want to eat on your balcony one night, 24 hours, you can order this menu in the evening for dinner, get it to your stateroom if you don't feel like going out. La Veranda is our French restaurant. So this is one of the alternate dining venues. You do need to make reservations. There's no additional charge. You make reservations when you get on board. You won't have any trouble. We ate there a few times. I was on an 11-night sailing, had no trouble getting the reservations I wanted. But it's a French menu, and then so they also have daily standards. So you mix and match as much as you want. Of course, they're pouring the wine through dinner. And we are a French company. I mean, we're French Polynesian, of course, but we're owned by a French cruise line called Ponant, if anyone knows Ponant. So we have champagne, real champagne, not sparkling wine on board. And this is my favorite restaurant.
I love this one.
Le Grill is an open air restaurant up by the pool. And it's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as La Veranda is. And for dinner, it's a Polynesian Asian fusion menu. But one of my favorite things about it is the night that we're in Bora Bora, and sometimes Moorea, depending on what the weather is like, they actually take the tables from the restaurant and pull them out and place them around the pool. So you're dining under the stars with a candle with Bora Bora in the background. Pretty incredible, right? So that's one of my favorite things. And when you go, I'm not going to say if, because when you go, you do want to have lunch here when you get on the ship and make that reservation for the evening that we're in Bora Bora, so you're not disappointed and you definitely get to eat there under the stars. We do have entertainment. So sometimes when you're in French Polynesia, it's a little quiet at night. It's just a little quiet at night. But we have entertainment all the time. So we all have our grand salon. And as you would imagine, it's very much French Polynesian entertainment. We bring on French Polynesian dance groups. We have lecturers like marine biologists or anthropologists. So it's all very much of the area. So you're really immersed in the culture. And then, of course, you have the Gauguins and the Gauguins entertaining you all the time. We have non-motorized water sports included. So we have paddle boards, kayaks, and snorkel equipment are all complimentary. And you can actually do the water sports right from the platform off the back of the ship. So you can see that marina comes down off the back, and you can do the water sports from there. And they take them to the private island. So all that stuff, they take it over to the private islands. You can do it from there. Scuba diving, if I have any divers in the audience, diving is amazing. Yeah, we have amazing diving. With a dive master right on board. So they get to know the abilities and the likes of the people who are on the ship with them. You leave right from the back of the ship. You're not going to another destination to get on another dive boat. And the thing about French Polynesia is, even if you're not a diver, and we actually do a resort certify. So even if you're not certified, you can do a resort course in the pool and still dive, I think down to 30 feet or something like that.
Yep, that's correct.
That's right. Thank you. But even if you're not a diver, the water is so crystal clear that you have no trouble seeing it from on top snorkeling. So don't fret if you don't dive. I don't dive. You'll still see everything you want to see. We have a full service spa on board. This is one of my favorite spots on the ship. It's actually a very versatile entertainment space. In the morning, they have smoothies, like an early risers kind of breakfast, continental breakfast, and you can go up there and watch the sunrise. In the evening, there's all kinds of things happening. Our resident band, which is called, name is escaping me, I'll remember it, but our resident band plays outside and you can dance under the stars there. This is actually one of my photos. I'm not a photographer at all. And it's taken with my phone. So that's sunrise looking to the back of the ship. So pretty amazing. You can't take a bad picture there. The scenery is just so beautiful that you cannot take a bad picture. So these are the categories. We have 4 different suite categories. Owner suites are the largest staterooms. That square footage includes the size of the balcony. The grand suite has the largest balcony. It's a wraparound balcony with the grand suite. These all come with butler service as well. So you have a butler at your disposal. Then we have our veranda suite and our veranda stateroom. The bulk of what you'll find on the ship are these balcony accommodations. And so it's your private balcony and your C's and D's. Then we have portholes and windows. The destination itself is extremely sustainable. Where it is. I showed you where it is in the Pacific Ocean. We're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So we need to use everything we have. We need to recycle everything we have. And so that's exactly what we do on the Gauguin. And, the fishermen that we get the fish from, we use all local people to provide us with food, and it's all sourced locally. And all of our excursions, of course, are small excursions and run locally. So you have groups of like 12. If you're on a catamaran, it might be a group of 20, but everything else is a very small venue. So you're not with a group. Has anyone ever been to Stingray City in Grand Cayman? Yeah. And you're with all those boats and everything. It's nothing like that. That's what All right. So let's talk about the itineraries that we have. So you'll find a flyer of Sally's trip, which is the 27th of July. And I have this one here. So that's the special group pricing date. But this is the itinerary. This really makes the core of everything we do, is a 7-night around the Society Islands. So beginning and ending in Papeete, we go to Huahine, and then we go to Taha or Motumahana, which is our private island. You have your overnight in Bora Bora and your overnight in Moorea. So this is really the core that makes up, even when we do a longer sailing, which we'll see some of those at the end, we still do this Society Islands plus. The Society Islands are really what you think of when you think of French Polynesia. So let's talk a little bit about the destination. Papeete, so many people will come into the island of Tahiti and just hop on the ship and head out, or get on a ferry and go over to Moorea, or get on a plane and go to an outer island. But I really think you're only seeing half the destination. I love Tahiti. I think it's a great little island. And even though 70% of the population lives there, when you get out of Papeete and you go to the north, or you go to Tahiti Iti, which is the little piece that is on Tahiti, there's hardly anybody around. You could go to these waterfalls or gardens with not a single other person. And I did this at Christmas. So we were just there over the holidays this past year. We rented a Jeep and drove around the island, and it's very well marked, but you can get a Circle Island tour one way and a Circle Island tour the other way. But you'll get to these beautiful gardens, not anybody else there. So I do recommend, if you can, staying a day, or at least 2 days in Tahiti. And so a lot of times this is the way people will get around. And when we're talking about excursions, this is what it looks like an open truck. So you're sitting in the back of this open truck, and they do a Circle Island tour in Tahiti. The market. So in Papeete is the big market. It's open 7 days a week. It's great for guests, but also that's where the locals shop. They go there to pick their produce up, and they actually go there on Sunday mornings to share 4 a.m. breakfast was a little early for me, but you can enjoy that if you want. But you can get your vanilla, your Manoi oil, all your things that you need from French Polynesia right at the market. Food trucks. So the roulettes, which are right where the ship docks, are food trucks. And food trucks were a thing in French Polynesia before food trucks became a thing everywhere. They've had them forever. It's a very economical and delicious way to eat, and a really good way to sample the culture, because you'll mix and mingle with locals right at the food truck. So they're really, really good. And then I told you Tahiti iti. Iti means little. So the little piece that's tacked on to Tahiti is called Tahiti iti. That's where these huge waves are. So you see this big wave. They actually take their surfers out on a jet ski to catch the wave. So that's how they do it. But the Olympics are going to be held there next year. Around the same time, I don't know when, so the Olympics, the surfing competition is here. It's like June maybe. I'd have to look it up, I forget. But they're holding the Olympics there. And the surfing competition anyway. These are some photos, like the black sand beaches. Again, you'll go here in Tahiti and you won't find another person. It's really crazy. It's very unspoiled. And then up to Huahine is our next stop. And this really is like taking a step back in time. There's no stoplights, there's no stop signs. Yep. It's really pretty incredible. The last time we did the safari tour, and the safari tour takes you to see the blue-eyed eels. It goes to the pearl farm, which Tahitian pearls are very sought after, of course. I have some on to show you, so that ladies, you can show your husband or your partner what you're gonna ask them to buy. And it goes to the vanilla farm as well. And here we have Motumahana. So we already talked about this, but you can now see the gentleman with the bar in the middle there. And Motumahana. So these are my photos. And I told you, my husband, there he is over there. I don't think he knows he's in this presentation. It's okay, don't tell him. Don't tell him. And then you have my son, Declan. He's with the Gaugans and the Gauguins. We were actually in Motumahana on Christmas Day. So we were there on Christmas Day, and we had a Marquesan Santa. So we had a Santa on there giving out gifts and stuff. It was awesome. But the Gaugans and Gauguins were great with Declan. I'll tell you another little story about traveling with a 4-year-old in French Polynesia. He's a very good traveler, so he's amazing. And it really depends on the sailing as to how many kids you're going to get. But he was by far the youngest at 4. I don't know about you, but nobody ever took me to Tahiti when I was 4. But so we were getting on board, and I could see, some of the shock and horror and some of the people's faces, like, oh gosh, they're the 4-year-old getting on here. Like, this is going to be. But by the end of the trip, everybody was so complimentary. They were saying how good he was, and he had a good time, but he was really well behaved, and they enjoyed watching him. So it was really funny, but he was really good. He is a good traveler anyway. So Bora Bora, you see Bloody Mary's there. That's an iconic restaurant that you can go to. Has a sand bottom floor. I don't know, everybody or who's anybody has been through there. Jimmy Buffett, you'll see. I think they were doing a little bit of a renovation, but they can't renovate it too much because you don't want it to change too much there. But Bora Bora, of course, is known for the overwater bungalows. We overnight there again, and we bring out the marina so you can do water sports right from the back of the ship. Of course, diving is amazing. It's not just water sports, though. There are other things you can do in Bora Bora. We were there, the Americans were there in World War II, and you'll see cannons still up in the hills. So you can take an ATV trip and go up into the hills and see the cannons. If you don't want to get wet, but you still want to get in the water, you can do one of those aqua trikes, or you can snorkel with the sharks and the stingrays, which they're perfectly fine. There's no trouble. They don't want you there. They're well fed in that lagoon. Or if you're celebrating something very special, you might want to take a helicopter ride, which is what we did the last time I was there. It was pretty amazing. And Sally, or one of the folks there, can arrange it for you. But this is actually my photo. So this photo here is the pilot took my phone and took a picture of the rearview mirror. So you can see Bora Bora in the background of that mirror. So that's pretty cool. And then I took a picture of Bora Bora, and then we landed on this island, that island, there was nobody there except for hermit crabs and us. And the pilot set up a table with champagne and juices, and it was so amazing. It seats, there were 5 of us, so it seats 5 people. So if anybody wants to do that, I'm sure Sally will take care of that.
I want to do that. I want to do that.
It's amazing.
We will be doing
Truly
it.
amazing.
We're going to do it.
So you have the private beach in Bora Bora, then Moorea. So Moorea is really a place where you can do just about anything that you want to do. So there's a ton of water sports. There's also a lot of interior things you can do. We did a sunset catamaran. I always do the bike tour when I'm there, the e-bikes up to the top of Belvedere, which is an outlook. But you can do hiking up to Belvedere. You can take an ATV. You can take a little truck up to the top of Belvedere. Yep. So that's a really great vantage point. There's a pineapple plantation halfway up, an agricultural high school. You could do jet skis, you can do snorkeling and diving and anything you want to do as far as the water sports go. On the way back from Moorea to Tahiti, we bring on the mamas. And so the mamas are Tahitian, and they come and sit in front of the restaurant, and they make the beautiful flowers, and you can smell this lovely, like what Sally has on her head there. You could smell this throughout the dining room. And they bring their family, beautiful. And they're playing music. And that night is Polynesian night. Not that every night is a Polynesian night, but every restaurant has a Polynesian menu. So that's pretty incredible. So that concludes that whole itinerary. I mean, obviously there's so much more, and happy to talk to you about it in length, and I'm sure Sally is too, but that concludes the itinerary that Sally has on hold. But then if you're looking for, that time doesn't work, for you, we do have some other sailings. So you have the 2024, we have a new sailing. It's kind of an old sailing because we used to do this and then we came back to it. But instead of overnighting in Moorea, we're actually going to Raiatea. Raiatea has a UNESCO heritage site. It's the only one in French Polynesia that's an actual UNESCO heritage site. And it's a mare. So mares are an ancient Polynesian cultural and religious center. So it's a very large mare. There. And then we have a 10-night. So again, I told you, we always do that core 7-night and then add in destinations. So this one includes the Tuamotu Islands, which are the low-lying atolls that are coral but sand on top. And everybody's favorite French Polynesian island, which is called Whakarava. It's really, the name is Whakarava. So that's that one. And then we have an 11-night that goes to the Cook Islands. So the Cooks are not part of French Polynesia, but they are in the South Pacific, self-governed, but very closely aligned with New Zealand. And Aitutaki is probably one of the most unique places I've ever been. It has this huge lagoon where you go snorkeling. You can snorkel over these large clams. But what's really cool about it is there's a sandbar that you can literally walk from where you're snorkeling to an island. So it's just really, really cool. So that's the Cook Islands. Then we head up to the Marquesas on our 14-night itinerary. And the Marquesas are really rugged. They're very huge mountains that the cliffs jut right into the water. Black sand beaches. It's a lot about the culture. Very few people there. It's not populated at all. It's really, if you're not cruising, it's really difficult to get there. You're like one flight a week or something like that. And even their dialect is a little bit different than the rest of French Polynesia. And then in 24, we're doing a little bit of a play for people who have traveled with us in the past on some of the itineraries, doing the Marquesas and the Tuamotus. Once a year, we go out to Fiji and come back. And then we have 25 available now. So if this year doesn't work for you and you're thinking maybe 25, not this year because we're still in 23. My brain's already.
That's okay, we got it.
We're actually going to overnight in Whakarava. So not 1, but 2 days in Whakarava on the Tuamotus in 25. We're doing a little bit of different itineraries, heading out to Australia, coming back. And then we have a 20-night. So that kind of concludes the itinerary portion. Things you want to buy when you're there. You definitely want to get some pearls, and they're Tahitian pearls, not black pearls anymore, because you can see all the colors are different. There's green, there's silver, there's black. Vanilla. So vanilla is very sought after, Tahitian vanilla. by home cooks and chefs alike because it really is good with savory and sweet dishes. And what makes it so unique is they really take care of the vanilla beans. I think I want to be a vanilla bean. When I explain this to you, you'll understand why. They hand pollinate the orchids to make the vanilla, but they also lay it out. I think it's only 4 hours a day in the sun. So it gets to lay out for 4 hours a day in the sun, and they massage every pod too. So, and this happens for quite a while. So it'd be nice to be a vanilla bean. And anything that says made in Fenua, that's what you want to look for when you're there and you're buying something, because that means it was made in French Polynesia. So made in Fenua. Wood carvings, pareos, which of course are like the sarongs, hand dyed and all of that. Manoi oil. So the little white flower is called the tiare flower, and that's the symbol of French Polynesia. And it smells amazing. They make, with coconut oil, they make a lotion, and they use that for bug bites, and depending on what the scent is, sunscreen, all kinds of things. Oh, and the last thing is, you might, when you're in Moorea, want to get a tattoo to remember your trip, because tattoos were created in the Marquesas Islands. So you can have a permanent reminder of your vacation. I'm sure Sally and the team will help you extend your vacation if you're looking to stay ahead of time or go ahead of time or stay later. We love celebration. So if anybody who's coming with us or anybody who does come with us and you're having a special celebration, a birthday, an anniversary, anything like that, please let us know. We love those. We do perform a Tahitian blessing ceremony on every single one of our sailings. So anybody whose anniversary or honeymoon happens to be this celebration, we have the cruise director performs this beautiful ceremony, wraps them in a blanket, takes photos, so it's pretty incredible. So you have a show savings. It's $300 off, which is actually the price for the group is already included with the show savings. But if you choose to take a different sailing, that you can use on another sailing.
It's $300 per person.
Per person, yes, Sally, it's per person. $600 total. And then the solo savings. So if you're a single, we do have some dates that are reduced or no single supplement. And anyway, I think in our E, F, and CS categories is half single supplement on every sailing. And then if you are thinking of traveling somewhere over the holidays, we still have space available, so talk to Sally about that. I can tell you it was the best place to spend Christmas. It's going to be a little bit of a letdown this year when I'm at home, but it'll be fine. I'll get through it. And with that, I'd like to say maruru, which is thank you in Tahitian language. And I'll leave you with a little picture of Declan. And I don't know if Sally has anything.
I do.
Right.
Of course I do. I don't need that.
Oh.
I don't need that. I think I have a big cheerleader voice, as everybody knows. Or if you don't, you will know that by the end. I want to thank you, Shannon. That was very informative. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're very welcome.
And what we started tonight is that we have Tommy and Jose, and they actually are setting up that we actually videotape this because there was some guests that couldn't come. And when Shannon had said, well, why don't you try to videotape it, Sally, for people so you can share it. I'm like, that's awesome. So I brought my team in. So thank you, gentlemen, for helping us out on this. I can't wait to see it. We got 3 cameras all over the place. So we have this group that's going. It's July 27th to August 3rd. And we have some incredible rates. I held this, I don't know, 7 months ago, 6 months ago?
At least.
That I held it. And what happens is that we don't get to hold the cabin. We get to hold the rate. And I checked today the differences of our sailing, what we're on our sailing. The rate is $2,000 to $3,500 difference, depending what room category for what we have. So because for the people that have booked, Shannon said we could have our $300 per person if they came tonight, even though we booked them a little early, which is great. It's a show special. We also have...
oh my gosh, the shipboard credit.
Yes.
What the heck?
I don't know, Shannon.
I don't know.
So we have a $200 per person shipboard credit that is with...
Did you say 3?
200 is with Signature.
Yep.
And because we are a signature agency. What does that mean? We are a cooperative. We are collected with 312 different agencies throughout the United States, and we're like-minded travel agencies, and we get different amenities and perks that we can offer to our clients that other travel agencies can't offer. So, which is wonderful because we have the $200 per person on top of our savings, plus Paul Gauguin is giving us $100 per person. So you have $600 for your stateroom that is on certain sailings, and it's definitely on our group. There's a flyer that says travel agency amenities, I think it says, and it gives you the certain dates on there on that flyer. I know that the sailing that we are on, that is one of the ones, and that's why I picked that one, because I wanted to make sure that that was in there so you get as much perk as you can. There's also, besides the 7-night sailing that we are doing, Paul Gauguin also offers this Air Tahitian travel from LA. So
the Air Tahiti Nui.
Air Tahiti Nui flies from LA. They leave at nighttime from LAX at like 10:30 or 11:30 at night. We arrive in at 5 a.m. With the Paul Gauguin package that they offer, they give us a day room at the Intercontinental Papiete, which is owned by Paul Gauguin.
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
No.
Oh, so sad. But the property's beautiful. It just was renovated.
And they have the lagoon that you can snorkel
so
in,
beautiful.
and you could use all that, everything there, and you have a use of a private room as well. So,
which is beautiful. So you get a day room, you get to relax. They give you breakfast, and then they transfer us over to the cruise line. And then off we sail for 7 nights, glorious nights, and have an amazing time. And then, oh no, the flight leaves at 11:30 at night again. So they bring us back over to the hotel. We have a day room again. We can go to the roulettes because when she talked about the roulettes, she's not kidding. I was there 9 years ago. I can remember it like it was yesterday. And at 5 o'clock, all these food trucks came all up, these roulettes, and there was nothing there. And we had a glorious meal. And then by 11:30, they're all packed up and cleaned, and you would never know that those trucks were there. It was so clean, am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just unbelievable. But we would be able to go over to the, and I think we get an excursion, a half-day excursion when we get off the ship. So it's a nice package that we can put in there. If you do want to do a couple of days prior, a couple of days post, or if you want to say, we were talking, because the flight is long. You know, it is, 5.5 hours to LA or San Francisco. We could do a hotel stay overnight there and then get up the next day and enjoy LA or San Fran, and then off we go on Air Tahiti Nui and get there overnight. So it just depends on what your wish is, because we can do it no matter which way. But I love that because...
Yeah, and Air Tahiti Nui is the flagship carrier of French Polynesia. So you actually feel like you're on vacation when you step on the flight before you even get there, because they have the flowers. They give everybody a tiare flower. They're dressed and they change a few times during the flight.
Right, because they're in their formal gear when you get on. And then all of a sudden when they're feeding you, they're in their serving outfits. But what's nice is that the seats, even in regular economy, they're a little bit wider. They had double armrests.
Very
They have
comfortable.
a billion movies. They give you a little thing that says...
Everybody gets it. If you're in economy,
Everybody gets
you
it.
get
Doesn't
your
matter. They give you...
amenity kit.
They give you a amenity kit with eye shades, earplugs. It says, wake me for food. Don't wake me for food, for anything. Slippers, blankie. They give you so many different things. You feel... And a pillow. Very comfortable. Very comfortable. But they do a beautiful job.
They do. Yeah.
So I hope this was educational. All right, good. Yeah.
I don't. Oh, are we gonna?
We do.
Should we ask them, see if they have questions?
Does anybody have questions right now? Go ahead, Ken.
What currency do they use?
It's French Polynesian franc. So, like, I can look up the conversion for you, but they use their own currency. You can get, there's a ATM machine at the Papiete Airport. That's probably the best place to get your money ahead of time. The ship's conversion is very favorable. You can get money exchanged on the ship. There's ATMs and banks in Bora Bora and Moorea, and the other places you won't find them. So if you're going to need money, and like the bigger shops will take credit cards. It's all U.S. currency on the ship, so everything you charge on the ship will be charged in U.S. dollars. And that $600 that Sally's giving you, or I mean, that's incredible. That's going to do great for your excursion because the excursions are going to be, depending on what you do, you know, between $80 and $150 per person, something like that. Unless you want something like the helicopter, obviously that's.
How much was the helicopter?
Oh, it was.
We want to know.
It was. I think it was 4, 8, 12. It was close to $2,000, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long was that?
Three of you or a piece?
The whole thing for 5 of us.
For 5?
5 people.
So you're talking maybe $400 a person?
Yeah.
I think that's phenomenal.
And it was.
How long?
You're on the island for about 45 minutes, and however long it takes you to get over there. So 2 hours maybe.
So in St. Lucia, the helicopter that is 11 minutes long for 2 people to go is $430.
Okay.
With a transfer to the hotel. But it's amazing. It's an amazing
Yeah.
experience. But yours,
Yeah, that's.
St. Lucia is beautiful, but yours?
Yeah, there you go. It's Air Tahiti Nui helicopters when you're ready to
Okay.
do that.
Yeah, we do that. All right, just, yes. What is it?
$1 to 113 Tahitian francs.
Okay.
Tahitian francs.
113 to
All right,
$1.
other questions for $1.
Oh,
Yeah.
someone asked about the temperature, or I failed to mention 80 degrees year round. July is the perfect time to go. Rainy season is November through April. The water temperature is 80 degrees year round, so it's beautiful. It's a
I was
year-round
there in
destination.
February for 9 days, and it rained the last day for 3 hours, and that was it.
I had the same experience. I was there in December for 13 days, and we had rain the last day and maybe overnight sometimes. It's not a washout usually,
No.
but that is rainy season.
Yeah. It's
Same
not.
time zone as Hawaii, so 6 hours behind us here. 3 from the West Coast.
So we have a couple of presents.
Yes, yes.
All right, so what, honey? What about the Wi-Fi?
Oh,
Yes,
it's
there is one.
included. Yeah, Starlink.
Yeah, 9 years ago, not so great.
Right.
And that was okay because I came back so refreshed. I put my phone
Now
in.
they could get you one.
Yeah. They can get you, Marla.
So
So go ahead.
how,
So we-
how are you gonna?
I don't
do
know.
they put their hand up or?
All right, so you're going to ask a question.
Yeah.
All right, and you're going to pick somebody. You're going to answer a question.
Oh,
Don't
gosh.
yell out the answer.
That's too much pressure.
Come on.
All right.
All
My
right.
question is, so raise your hand, and the first person I see with their hand up, I'll.
Go.
How many islands makes up French Polynesia?
Oh.
Oh.
Raise your hand.
Did you?
Up, Reem.
Yeah, she said.
Did you do
yeah,
it?
118. She got it.
Ooh, yeah.
That was a tough one.
Okay. You're welcome. She's getting ready to go. Okay.
How many hours is the flight from Los Angeles? Who said that?
Who said that? Huh? You gotta have your hand up. Go. What? You got one. Okay.
All right.
So we have the same bag. All right. And you got this too.
All right, now I have to
And you
think
got
of
that.
one.
I got
too.
it? Oh my
You
goodness,
did
thank
because you
you.
raised your hand first.
Oh.
Don't blurt out the answer. Now this is very important. Don't blurt out the answer. You have to raise your hand.
So
All right.
can anyone tell me well, no, because some people are already going, so I don't want to ask that.
What?
The date
The-
of your trip.
No. Don't
All
do
right.
that. Don't do that.
What's my favorite restaurant on board? The one where you can eat outside? La Grill.
Oh, Don. You got a
La Grill.
Tahitian pearl.
All right. Thank you.
Yay.
Somebody he asked what the prices of the pearls are. So, you can get perfect, just like diamonds or anything else, right? So there's a big range, and also you can get pearls from the market. And if you're getting a big necklace, let's say, you can get less expensive ones that aren't so great in the back, and then have the prettier ones in the front. So it's not super expensive. Oh gosh, I can't remember how much this was. This was like 175, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they're nice. Yeah, they are nice. They're pretty
okay.
uniform and all different colors. So, yeah. But you can go to like a designer,
Yes.
jeweler and spend a lot more. We do have a
Thousands of
boutique on
dollars.
board.
Yeah. And then there's some that are
that's
reasonable.
like a famous designer, and those are a little bit more expensive. This was inexpensive. It's like a cord with something. I don't even remember. It was very inexpensive. What was?
Can you?
Oh, yes. So she asked about, do we offer an overnight on a overwater bungalow in Bora Bora? So yes, because we overnight in Bora Bora, you do have the ability, or Sally and her team has the ability to book you a hotel and an overwater bungalow on Bora Bora, because we're not leaving until the next day. So you can get off overnight in that bungalow, get back on the ship, and then cruise out with us. So thank you for bringing that up.
Well, we'll look it up for you.
Yeah,
Not that bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Barbara.
So once at a time. I know rates change a lot, but generally, for an economy ticket to go from Newark to Tahiti.
So I looked up flights. She asked the question of, what do you think about the airline tickets, what they're costing? So the Air Tahiti Nui with the package leaving from LA, doing the transfers in the daytime, that is $21.70 per person. I looked up tickets, and that's round trip. And then, of course, you have to pay for the flight from Newark to LA. I looked up flights on United today. They were $1,960 from Newark to connect through San Francisco to get you into the night into Papeete, and then we could get you a hotel the pre-night. I looked up the hotel cost over at the Intercontinental Papeete, and that was $515 for the night. So, you know, things all balance out, and we can get you those rates. Now, that was for, in particular, the July rates that I was looking at. But I did want to bring back up again, because when I experienced with Paul, when we were on in 2014, like I said, I remember it like it was yesterday. The service is impeccable. I can't tell you what they, how you said about keep drinks. The food was delicious.
The food is
and they were so accommodating, so kind, so beautiful.
Yes.
They're beautiful people.
That's true. They are.
Really, they are.
Oh, you know what else I didn't? As part of the entertainment, they do a staff talent show,
Right.
which is really cool. The staff is very talented, actually, and so they do a staff talent show. I forgot about
That's
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Who's ready to go to Tahiti?